Welcome, I'm Seema from Edufinite. This video is requested by my nephew and I will be explaining what are clauses, their functions and usage. It will help you to clear your concepts on the topic. If you have any queries, you can ask me in the comment section. Let's delve into the topic. Now, what is a clause? A clause is a group of words having a subject. It can be a noun phrase also, and a verb. It can be a verb phrase also, that have a relationship. That means the subject and the verb have a relationship. That is, it conveys full information about what the subject is or is doing. Noun, you know what it means? It's the naming thing. The naming word in a sentence is noun and the action word in a sentence is verb. But what is this phrase? A phrase is one or more words that form a meaningful grammatical unit within a clause. Okay? It does not convey any complete sense. And a clause can function as a sentence, but a phrase can't. So, a phrase is just a small grammatical unit inside a clause. Now, let's look into some of the sentences. Mira laughed. Now we've got just two words. One is Mira, which is the subject, it's a noun, and laughed, it is the verb. And these together are perfectly conveying a complete thought. So we are understanding the meaning. Mira laughed. Yes, there was something maybe funny or something she heard, some joke or something, so she laughed. The next one. The people in the train were talking. Now over here, the people in the train is the noun phrase. Okay, so it's a group of words forming a meaningful grammatical unit. So the people in the train, it conveys us some meaning, but it's not a complete meaning, or it does not give us the idea, a complete thought. So the people in the train were doing what? Were talking. Now were talking is again a verb phrase. So what is it expressing? They were talking. So the people in the train were talking. This expresses a complete thought, or it gives us the full meaning. So it is a clause. The next one. Do it please. Now over here, it does give us a complete meaning, but where is the subject? There is no subject. It's starting with the verb do. Actually, the subject is you. We never say you do it please, because that subject is hidden. So for that reason, since the subject is hidden, that means the subject is present but it's hidden. So there's a subject as well as a verb, and it is giving us a complete meaning, or it is giving us a complete thought. So it is a clause. The next one. He is very clever. Now over here there is subject he, there is verb is, and there are a few more things beside these two words to give us a complete meaning. So this is also a clause. Now, so a clause we've understood till now that it is a group of words. It will have one subject and one verb, and it will give us a complete meaning. So that's the crux, or that's the gist of what is a clause. Now we come to functions of clauses. How do the clauses function? Clauses can play various roles in a sentence. It can act as a noun, it can act as an adjective, or it can even act as an adverb. Now let's look into some of the noun clauses. It is a clause, that is, clause means that is, it will have a subject and a verb, and it functions as a noun. Okay, so what is noun actually? It's the naming word of the sentence, so it will function as a noun. Next, the noun clause can be a subject, an object, or a complement. So how can the noun clause exist? It can exist as a subject because subjects are usually nouns. So it will play the role of a subject or the role of an object, or it can be a complement too. Next, let's look into some examples and understand it. Whoever did it will face the consequences. So over here, whoever did it, this is the noun clause. Why? How do we understand that whoever did it is the noun clause? Well, the clause over here is acting as a noun. Why? Because it can be replaced by a noun, the guilty. Okay. Now a noun clause, how do we find out whether it's a noun clause or not? What we do, we try to replace that noun clause by some noun of the same meaning. And if it fits into the sentence, that means that's the noun clause. So whoever did it, that means will face the consequences. That means what? Whoever is guilty will face the consequences. So if we put the guilty will face the consequences, it fits in. So whoever did it is the noun clause. Well, the next one. Ravi cannot remember what he dreamt last night. Now, over here, what he dreamt last night is the noun clause. Why? Because it can be replaced by the noun his dream, or rather by the noun phrase, I should say, his dream. Okay? So, Ravi cannot remember his dream. That's absolutely fine. So, this clause, what he dreamt last night, acts as a noun. So, that's a noun clause. Next. Now, Julian realizes why she got less marks in her exams. Over here, why she got less marks in her exams is the noun clause because it can be replaced by a noun, the reason. What Julian realizes? The reason why she got less marks in her exams. So now Julian realizes the reason. So over here we understand that why she got less marks in her exams is a noun clause. Whatever you wish is my command. So over here, the clause whatever you wish acts as a noun because it can be replaced by your wish. Your wish is my command. So what do we see? In the first sentence over here, whoever did it will face the consequences. The noun clause is acting as the subject. In the next sentence, Ravi cannot remember what he dreamt last night. What he dreamt last night is acting as the object of the sentence. Even in the next one, now Julian realizes why she got less marks in her exams. That is also acting as the object of the sentence. But over here, whatever you wish is my command. Obviously, it's a subject, but it also acts as a complement. Whatever you wish is my command. So I'm trying to please someone and saying these words, giving her or him a compliment. Well, the next one is adjective clause. Now, what is that adjective clause? It is a clause. That means it will have a subject and a verb, and it functions as an adjective. So what does an adjective do? It will tell us something about the noun. Next, it will start with a relative pronoun or a relative adverb. Now, usage of relative pronoun, who, whom, whose, which, or that. So these are few of the words that are known as relative pronouns, and let's see how we use them as sentences. The dog that we saw yesterday gave birth to 2 cute little puppies. So that we saw yesterday, that phrase is the clause. What clause is it? It is the adjective clause. Why? Because those words that we saw yesterday, whom did we see? The dog. So it's describing about the noun the dog. Hence, it is an adjective clause. Well, in the next one, the beggar who claimed to be lame sprinted as the police chased him. So maybe I met a beggar and he was begging for some money or food or whatever, and he was limping. And he pretended as if his leg was not okay. He limps. So he was, making a very painful scene and trying to ask for some money. Suddenly the police comes in, and maybe he's a known face who cons people with this, unique acting of his, and he chases the beggar. And the beggar, as soon as he sees the police is coming, he knows he's going to be caught. So trying to save himself, he sprints. So then I come to realize the beggar was trying to con me. So the beggar who claimed to be lame sprinted as the police chased him. Over here, who claimed to be lame. This clause is the adjective clause. Why? Because it is describing who claimed to be lame. Who claimed? The beggar. So it is describing the noun, the beggar. So that's an adjective clause. Now, omission of relative pronoun is quite common. Let's see how. The jacket which I bought last year has lost a button. So over here again, which I bought last year is the adjective clause. Why? Because it is describing which I bought last year. What did I buy last year? The jacket. So it is describing the noun, the jacket. So hence it is the adjective clause. But we can omit the word which and we can just say the jacket I bought last year has lost a button. That makes complete sense. So sometimes what we do is we omit the relative pronoun, especially which. The movie which you recommended was not so good. Again over here, which you recommended is the adjective clause. Now, we can again omit the which over here and just say the movie you recommended was not so good. Why? Which you recommended? What did you recommend? The movie. So, it's talking about the noun movie. So, that's an adjective clause. Now, my cousin, who said was not hungry, ate more than us. Now, who said was hungry is the adjective clause. Why? Who said hungry? Who said hungry? My cousin. So, it's describing my cousin. Now, so that's the adjective clause. But we have to see one thing over here. We have separated the adjective clause by 2 commas. Once when it starts and the other after it ends. Why have we done so? Because my cousin ate more than us. So I know my cousin. I don't have to give much, like she does not need much introduction. But still I'm providing with some additional information. So when we provide some additional information about the subject, then we always separate it with a comma, the adjective clause, when it starts and after it ends. The next one is adjective clause, the usage of relative adverbs. So the adjective clause, we've already studied the use of relative pronouns. Now it's the relative adverbs. When, where or why, these are some of the relative adverbs. For example, I have no idea when I fell asleep. The clause when I fell asleep is an adjective clause. Why? Because it is telling us about the noun idea. I have no idea. When I did not have an idea, when I fell asleep. Next, the heavy traffic jam is the reason why we are late. So, why we are late is the adjective clause. Why? Because it is telling us why we are late. So, what is the reason for being late? Traffic jam. So, the heavy traffic jam is the reason why we are late. So, it's describing about the traffic jam, why we are late. So, that is an adjective clause. Next, this is the place where we met for the first time. So, here, where we met for the first time, where did we meet? The place. So, it's again describing the noun, the place. So, for that reason, this is an adjective clause. Next, we come to adverbial clause or clause that acts as adverbs. So, it is a clause that means has a subject and a verb and functions as an adverb. Next, it modifies the main verb of the independent clause. That means gives us more information about the independent clause and gives information about time, place, condition, reason, manner or purpose of an action. So, why that action happened. Purpose, reason, manner, or where that action happened, place, when that action happened, time, or why that action happened, condition. That occurred by asking questions. What questions? How, when, where, and why. When we ask these questions and get the answers, then they are all adverbial clauses. So it is also a dependent clause naturally and starts with a subordinating conjunction although, because, it, if, until, when, etc. So it begins with the subordinating conjunctions. Now, for example, although I may not win, I will still practice for the marathon. So what is happening over here? The dependent clause, it starts with a subordinating conjunction although. So definitely that's one point of adverbial clause ticked right. And what it does, it expresses a condition that the action of the sentence practicing for the marathon is dependent on. So practicing for the marathon, I'm still practicing for the marathon. But what is the condition over here? What is the condition on which I'm still practicing? Although I may not win, because back of my mind is there. I may not win, but still I will practice. Maybe I can win. I might not win also. Who knows? So, the action of practicing for the marathon is dependent. Moreover, it modifies the main verb will practice. I will practice, although I might not win. So, it's modifying will practice. For that reason, it's an adverbial clause because it's modifying the verb. Now, it answers the question why. Why will I still practice? Or why will I practice? I will still practice, although I might not win, but I will still practice. That's a condition rather. The condition I'm putting forward for my practice. Next. Ravi played the game confidently as if he had played it many times. So, what is happening over here? As if he had played it many times. So, it's a new game, maybe a video game or something, and he's playing like a pro. He's, doing everything right and is scoring marks. So, it looks as if, though it's a new game, but as if he had played it many times. It's seeming that way. So over here what is happening? The dependent clause starts with a subordinating conjunction as if. And it expresses a condition that the action of the sentence played the game is dependent on. He played the game how? He played the game confidently. How? That as if he had played it many times. So moreover, it modifies the verb played. So it is an adverbial clause. And what does it answer? It answers the question how. How did Ravi play the game? He played it as if he had played it many times. Next. Even though I have never traveled alone before, I think I would enjoy it. So over here again, what is happening? It's beginning with that subordinating conjunction. Even though. And moreover, it has a subject and the verb. So it is an adverbial clause. Why? Because it is answering the question why. Why do you think I will enjoy it? Even though I have not traveled alone before, I think I will enjoy it. Next. I think I would enjoy traveling even though I have never tried it before. So here what is happening? Here we have two cases where we can put the adverbial clause in the beginning of the sentence or in the beginning of the independent clause, or we can add it after the independent clause also. But if we add it before the independent clause, then we'll have to put a comma after it. So even though I never traveled alone before, I think I would enjoy it. Or we can also say, I think I would enjoy traveling alone even though I've never tried it before. Next. You may watch the movie as soon as you finish your studies. So the dependent clause here starts with the subordinating conjunction as soon as. And it expresses a condition that the action of the sentence watch the movies depends on. You may watch the movies when? As soon as you finish your studies. And it modifies the verb watch. So it is an adverbial clause. And it answers the question when you can watch the movie. As soon as you finish your studies, you can watch the movie. Next is, I can't find the keys though I've looked for them everywhere. So the dependent clause starts with the subordinating conjunction though, and it expresses a condition that the action of the sentence can't find the keys depends on. I can't find the keys though I have searched for it everywhere. And moreover, it modifies the verb find. So it is an adverbial clause and answers the question where. Where have you looked for them? I have looked for them everywhere. So that's all for today. Thank you for being there with me. If you have liked the content, then do give a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Do subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell icon for future updates. Bye. Take care. See you in the next one.